All right, y'all. Well, I'm here on my vacation edition of Triggering Truths by Worldwide Aboriginals. And today, the topic is the destruction that's going on in the world today. I mean, I'm completely disgusted. And not just the world, right? Because before we talk about externally, we have to talk about internally, right? And I want to talk about internally what's going on in our land today before I can talk about anything. Right? And what's going on in America today is utterly disgusting. And for many reasons. Right? And I don't know if you guys have heard of a man by the name of Jim Jones. And I'm not talking about Jim, Chrissy, and Mama Jones. I'm talking about the Jim Warren Jones.
To test the loyalty of his followers, Jim Jones forces everyone to drink a fruit punch that may or may not be poisoned.
Who in the hell wouldn't be ready for a white night? How do you feel about it? You may die tonight.
Right? The cult leader that had the people drinking the Kool-Aid that killed them. Right? And had their kids drinking the Kool-Aid.
Jones has ordered for the cyanide to be mixed with the Kool-Aid. Then, he forces his followers to drink it.
If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace.
I feel like a lot of you are under this MAGA Kool-Aid, right? That you guys continue to drink it and will drink it even at your own demise. And I don't, at this point, I'm thinking that it stemmed from racism, and then I'm thinking it stemmed from ignorance, and then I'm thinking it stemmed from misogyny. But honestly, I don't understand it at all. It's like you guys are under a spell, and I'm quite confused by it, to be honest with you, because I've never seen a people follow a person who has. You can't even name something progressive that he's doing. You guys talk about the only policies that I hear you guys talk about is border control, pro-life, and tariffs. That's it. Right? Mind you, tariffs is a lie. Right? The income that is bringing in is a lie. Border control, I'm for border control. Right? I'm not for the violence acts that I've seen. I actually was online the other day and seen ICE attempting to break the neck of a teen boy who was here going to school, right? And I don't care what he was doing. He could have been stealing from the liquor store. That is no cause for someone to try to forcibly break his neck. They could have killed that boy. And you guys are over here, and some of you, Latinos for Trump, over here praising immigration policies that are harming your ancestors, your descendants, your cousins, etc. You guys are sick, honestly. And then we have, what did I say? The pro-lifers. I'm pro-life too, right? But I'm not pro-forcing people to conceive after they've been sexually assaulted. And I think the statistics show at least 60 women a day, and I think it's more than that, are conceiving since Trump, right? Are childbearing from their abuser. Right? That's sick. Nobody should be forced to conceive a child, bring a child into this world that they were sexually assaulted, in a situation that they were sexually assaulted. All right, we're talking about taking away people's human rights. And then we look around the world and we see how fucked up the world is. And you guys, I think there should be requirements to have children. But you guys want people to bring children into this world where the mother may not be able to care for them. may not love them, right? And we may even kill them at birth. And we see this. You guys talk about how sick it is, right? How sick these things are, but you guys don't want people to have abortions. And then your counterclaim will be, I heard somebody say, well, I know somebody that has gotten 10 abortions. Do I think and do I believe that education, sexual education, and teaching sexual discipline should be amplified? Absolutely. I don't think that we're doing a good enough job in the education system and it's like taboo to talk about sex with children, right? When I say children, I mean teenagers, right? Those able to conceive, right? I think it's important to teach men, young boys, sexual discipline. But instead, what with the gender roles, the gender differences, is that you're teaching young men to glorify sex and not have any sexual discipline. But on the other end, you're shaming women for not having sexual discipline, right? So then the young boy is coming into this world looking to take the innocence of young girls, preying on young girls. So you're teaching predatory behavior in young boys at a young age. And then we look and we see these predator men who were taught to be predators at a young age. And then we don't think that the one doesn't have anything to do with the other, right? I think that we need to take sex education a little bit more serious, right? Growing up. So I think that in the household and in the schools, that we should be teaching, this is the result of this. A plus B equals C, right? You sleeping with a woman, you sleep with a man. C is the child that comes from this. Now after the child comes, right? Because you have no sexual discipline and you're not connected to the person, right? You have no spiritual connection to the person that you're sleeping with. So then after the child is born, the woman has to keep the child. That's a woman's job, is to nurture their child, right? And we can look into the animal kingdom and we can see, some of the same instances where the male. Let me let this plane go by. So we can look into the animal kingdom and we can see sometimes where we see abandonment. And you guys want to mimic that. First of all, you have more cognizance than a primate or any other animal in the animal kingdom that abandons their child. But this is what happens, right? The male can abandon the child, the household, and the woman is stuck with the child. Right now, when we talk about products of environments and perpetuating your circumstances, you're teaching that child is now in an environment where they didn't grow up with a dad. So as a boy, and the child could be a boy or a girl. So typically if the child is a boy, however, right, and men will say this all the time, well, I didn't have my dad in my life. And some men will be like, well, I didn't have my dad in my life, I turned out fine, so I don't need to be in this child's life. That's the ideology that's going behind this, the psychology that's going behind, well, I didn't have mine. So you're teaching abandonment at conception, ideally, right? So I think that it's important to have these conversations and not treat it like sex is so taboo when we talk about hormones and we talk about, wanting to experience things as young children, right? Like, oh, you're aroused, you don't know what these feelings are, so you want to go experiment and go act on these feelings that you're having because nobody taught you, because they're treating it like it's taboo, right? So I think that that's a problem we're having, is that we're not teaching sexual discipline. We're treating sex like it's taboo, like it's not human nature to have sex and to conceive. right? And we're not teaching family, community, right? I think it's important that if you commit to laying down, because then you'll blame the woman on why she had the kid instead of blaming your fucking nuts for not pulling out or not having sexual discipline and sleeping with people who that you actually are connected to and you believe that you're going to be with for your life. Why would you want to have understanding, as you should understand as a male, that if you plant the seed, right? You're planting the seed. You're planting the seed. You are planting the seed. So that don't blame a woman when you have planted the seed. You planted the seed. You had a choice. So all the men out there that like to say, oh, go get an abortion, go to the clinic. Don't put a woman, and you got to understand, you, as a male, you have to understand, some women want children. Some women don't know if this is going to be their only opportunity to have a child. Some women don't care if you're not going to be around. They're going to have their children. Some women do not believe in abortions. So how about as a man, you protect yourself? It doesn't matter if a woman says, oh, I'm taking the pill. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. Actually, those things are proven to be harmful to the body, as are condoms, latex. Right? So that's why you should only be having sexual encounters with people that you actually desire to build a community and a tribe with. How about that's what we teach the people? But my whole point of bringing this up is that we are in a world full of people who are making silly decisions. Right? A world full of people who are childbearing children and not teaching them and raising them up to be kings and queens and civilized people in this world. And that's where I have a problem. It's because we're talking about taking away, I'm pro-life, but we're talking about taking away the option for a parent who says, I don't want anything to do with a kid. Some people want kids, like I said. Some people don't. I don't want anything to do with a kid. I'm not going to raise a kid. I'm not going to treat a kid like I love them. I'm not going to nurture them. I don't want to deal with them. And then that kid grows into the world and is a hateful kid, a hateful spirit, because they are a product of their environment. And you want to take away that right. You want to live amongst people who, when you go to the grocery store, will shoot up the grocery store. When you go to a church, will shoot up a church. When you're in the hood, wants to be a gangbanger because they're a product of their environment. See, the earlier two, shooting up a grocery store and shooting up I think that is a psychological European construct. So, and what I mean by that, not even a construct, it's a trait. What I mean by that is there is a trait called the Chronos complex that is inherited through the threshold of the Neanderthal. Cro-Magnon admixture. Right? So, again, those are the three things, right? I'm pro-life. I'm pro-border control. And as much as I'm pro-border control, biblically, I'm really not. I'm just pro-border control because I just explained to you how vile and how evil and how wicked people are. So, I think that there's too many wicked people in our own nation. So we have to deal with our own nation, right? We have to deal with what's in our own nation. Just like I said, childbearing, right? I think honestly, I think that when it comes to voting and childbearing, and we'll get into some of the voting part later, I think that there should be a criteria. I don't think that everybody should have kids, right? You guys talk about certain people every day online who have destroyed their kids, their future, their development. They're not even concerned about their development because they're chasing men around or whatever the case may be. right? They're not even mentally stable themselves, right? This is where eugenics comes in to play. And I'm not pro nor con eugenics, but I will say if that you know that, and I know people are there's gonna be pushback on this, right? If you know for a fact that when you conceive, your child is not gonna have a normal life. If you know for a fact that a person has a history of mental health, let's say people have a history of mental health issues, right? Schizophrenia and whatever's out here, right? And you know that their children are going to inherit that condition. If you had a chance to fix it, I would probably fix that. Right? Now, adoption is always on the table. That doesn't mean that you can't have a child. Adoption is always on the table. But if we see the impact that some of these conditions have on people, their psyche itself, and on their neighbors, then I would say that something should be done about that, or could be done about that. I'm not saying it should or should not, right? I'm not against it. I'm not for nor against it, right? Now, eugenics on the other side, where we're talking about castrating people due to their color, right? Because we believe all black people are mentally ill. I think that's just pure racism. See, that's the difference between Margaret Sanger, Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates, who's in Africa trying to push eugenics ideologies and practices on the Africans by giving them vaccines that will halt their conception, because Africa is the fastest rising nation in the world in many ways, but including their population. All right, so when we talk about that, all right, back to border control. I believe biblically we were able to go to and fro as we please. And I believe that is the way of, that's the law, right? That's the law of the Most High. Ain't nobody bigger than the Most High, right? Not the gods beneath, the one and only Most High, the ones that the other ones used to work for, and some still do. All right, so I don't. Without evil, I believe there should be no borders. But with evil, I feel like we should have some limitations on the borders. Moving forward, my point is going to continue to be throughout this episode. I have seen a trend. So I'm watching Dean Withers, right? A young 21-year-old boy from wherever he's from, who gets on there and talks about the people who drink the Kool-Aid. The Donald Trump MAGA supporters and why they support MAGA, right? Just yesterday, it came out, and we already knew that Donald Trump was going to be in the Epstein files. I actually didn't even know his relationship with Epstein was as close as it was. They were some of the coolest, they were some of the tightest friends. So that's not saying that, because I've been around some people I didn't know they was doing what they was doing. But I'm quite positively sure that the way that Donald Trump talks about his own daughter and the way that Donald Trump talks about women.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that
If I weren't happily married, and, you know, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
It's
She's
unbelievable.
tall. She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
And the women that I've seen him around, I'm quite sure that birds of a feather flock together. So yesterday, some emails were dropped, right? And we all know he's on the list, because they said he was on the list. It's about his involvement, right? And I'm pretty sure he was pretty involved in what was going on. My problem is, we all knew this. And you guys still decided to vote for him. And not only do you guys still decide to vote for him, you guys still, after all of this stuff, continue to defend him. It reminds me of somebody in the black community who some of you guys still glorify. His name was, he goes by the name of Robert Kelly. R. Kelly. Right? I can't separate the man from the music. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Robert Kelly dated a 15-year-old Aaliyah. May have been younger than that. And I'm starting to think, as I get older, that Aaliyah was probably sex trafficked. Probably, right? That's what it seems to be. Her debut album was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. And guess who helped write that song? The song on that album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Robert Kelly. Who at this time, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure, can't remember so long ago, was dating Aaliyah. We do know he was dating her as a minor. And it sounds like she may have got signed off or may run away. We're not gonna get into all of that. The point is that with all the information, you guys seen R. Kelly in 4K, and this is what I tell people. This is what I'm telling people right now. I'm tying the bow nice and neat for you guys. People out here are saying they need to see. Like, it goes beyond the evidence, right? Because now you got AI. And I said this in the earlier episode. People are going to say, oh, that's AI. Everything's AI. Because they want to deny the facts, the evidence.
Or naked girls at Miss Teen USA and or
Well,
USA.
since that just came out today, I'm going to have to do my own independent research and find out the truth about it. I'm not just going to take your word for it like you expect everyone to do.
That's Epstein's word.
I'm going to actually...
It's Epstein's word from the email.
You're relaying Epstein's word, aren't you?
Yeah. What do you want to read it?
So I'm getting it from you?
So do you want to get it from like a picture?
So I need to get it for myself to find out whether it's true or not, but I want to ask you a question. Let's say you're right. I'll grant that you're right and he's on the list and all the things and you're right about all the accusations you've been making. Why is it wrong that he did those things? Trump in particular. Why is it wrong that he did those things?
It can have a 2007 stamp on it. It can have a 1999 stamp on it. Right? In the database, in the files from 1999, people will still gonna try to figure out a way to call it AI, right? But the point is that people are still defending the orange guy because they need to see it. So it's almost like you're asking, because I'm talking this, and this is where Dean Withers comes on, because I'm listening to these people talk about it. It's almost like you want to see him beating cheeks with a underage girl, which would be called child pornography, actually. So why do you want to see that? But why tied Robert Kelly in it? Because even though you've seen the man having intercourse with children, you found a way to blame the parents, which some of them were sex trafficking their kids. I believe that. Because now, like I said, I looked at Aaliyah, I said, this does not make, the math is not mathing, right? You find a way to blame the parents or bring the parents. It's not about the parents. It is about the parents, but it's not about the parents, right? The facts remains the same. It's like you guys are trying to deflect and find another suspect. When the pervert and the sicko and the freak is the one who is abusing children. Just like you have this orange guy, and like you want to see him in 4K. But my point is that you guys seen R. Kelly doing what he was doing, and you guys still can't separate the man from the music. You just love R. Kelly. He's the king of R&B. Let that shit go. He's a fucking weirdo. He's a pervert. He is a pedophile. Why are you still connected to that? You should be disgusted. There's certain people, every time you have no human moral compass if you're not disgusted by a pedophile. You're glorifying the man because of the music. Then some of you have daughters. Some of you have sons. What are you teaching your son, to be a fucking pervert, pedophile? Weirdo. Then you have the president, where you act like you need to see him actually doing these acts to believe that he did these acts. When he talked about his own fucking daughter. Are you guys fucking stupid? I'm starting to think that you guys are stupid, incompetent, lack of cognizance, remedial, retarded, all of that. I don't care. I said it. I'm saying it. Something is not clicking. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. And if you don't know what drinking the Kool-Aid, I don't think I explained thoroughly that Jim Jones had the people drinking the Kool-Aid, took them to Kenya, I believe, expanded his cult, a whole nother country, told them, if you follow me, drink this Kool-Aid. One day in this Kool-Aid, it may be poison, and you may die. And then one day, they drank the Kool-Aid, and he told them that they were going to die, and they shouted, and they clapped, and they had their kids drink that Kool-Aid, and they died. And that's how I feel like what you guys are doing with this Trump shit. You're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. It doesn't matter how much destruction. Some of y'all are dead broke right now. Don't have a fucking 2 cents to fucking scrub together. And speaking of cents, they ain't even making them no more. So you ain't gonna have nothing but your palms to rub together. And you're gonna be outside asking for $1, and I'm gonna be driving right past you. Because you drank the Kool-Aid. Make it make sense. I literally sat online yesterday and listened to a man say, and he said, and later, because I don't want to clip farm, later he said he thinks it's wrong. But if you really truly believe something is wrong, why would you pose such a question to ask somebody? And if he did it, why is it wrong?
All the things, and you're right about all the accusations you've been making. Why is it wrong that he did those things? Trump in particular. Why is it wrong that he did those things?
If he had sex with minors, why is that wrong? Why is that a question that you would pose as somebody who is moral, has a moral law? That's not a question that I would ever pose. I'm not trying to thought provoke you into answering such a question. It's like there's no I got you moment in that. It's just sick. I listened to a black, a white, and a Mexican guy say the same things, defending this. And each and every day, it's men. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is where it gets to the T. It's men. The common denominator, the common problem is men. I listen to men. That's what I talk about when I said you have to teach your children about sexual discipline and stop glorifying sex and influencing sex upon young boys. Dads, it's like you guys get happy. Oh yeah, I get to have this conversation with my son about having sex. Yeah. Hey son, come sit down. All right. Some of y'all use a condom. Some of y'all probably don't tell them to use a condom. You gotta use a condom though. Yeah, let's practice. I've even seen let's practice. Let's practice? That's what y'all doing? Boosie. Y'all glorify Boosie. Yeah, I had my son topped off by an older woman. So you had your son sexually assaulted.
Shit out here. I'm training them boys right. Ask in there my nephew. Ask in them. Ask my son. Yeah. They were 12, 13. They got hit. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. Hell yeah, I got my fucking son dick sucked. You fucking right. Yes, a grown woman. Grown, super grown. Super grown. Checked his ass out. Checked all my nephews out. Super grown. Is she grown? She checked me out.
At a young age, because you're teaching hypersexuality. Then those kids have no discipline growing up and they think that they can take whatever they want. These are not things that you guys probably think about because as men, because you have no logic and reasoning. And Dean Withers clocked that T yesterday because you guys are also misogynistic is what I'm saying. That's why I say men are the common denominators.
So you just said slavery, 9/11, the Holocaust. So if men are so much better at leading, well, then why did men control the transatlantic slave trade leading to slavery in America? If men are so much better at leading, then why are men responsible for 9/11? Osama bin Laden was a man. If men are so much better at leading than women, then why are men responsible for the Holocaust? Hitler was a man. I don't know. It's just like, I don't really think it's fair to suggest with no evidence that men are so much better at leading than women and less emotional and able to logically think through these things easier. But then when I ask you to name like just all the examples you could think of terrible things that have happened throughout history, all of a sudden they're all done by men in positions of leadership, right? In contrast, all the facts that I gave surrounded the fact that if anything, right, women might have a little bit of an upper hand on men in the context of leadership since they could manage and deal with their emotions better. But in all reality, folks, I wouldn't place any prescriptive.
I get on his stream to listen to the psychology behind why people voted the way that they voted, and the common denominators seem to be racism and misogyny. Because like I said, yesterday was black, white, Mexican. These are 3 different demographics of people. From 3 different parts of the United States. All the same answer. The man said, I don't care if a woman is better, I don't want to see a woman as my president. So that tells me that it's just misogyny. And men cannot run, like, look around the world, people. Look around the world. The world is at conflict. And who is the conflict led by? All around the world. Sudan, men. Congo, men. China, men. America, men. Israel, men. Ukraine, men. Russia, men. Men, men, men. You guys lead with your egos. So you guys say, oh, women are so emotional. Well, last time I checked, even in the hood, there's a couple ghetto women, there's a couple hood out here popping But let's do the statistics. Men are killing men. Men are killing women. All around the world, men are killing men. Men are killing women. As a man, and to my community, oh, black women don't want to be led. Black women don't want to be led. Where are you leading? You can't, in order to be a leader, you have to be a protector. I don't see y'all protecting these young girls out here that's being assaulted by men. Y'all actually are doing more of turning the other cheek. I don't see y'all assaulting men when they're abusing your relatives, and I don't care if, oh, she's gonna get back with them. Oh, she's probably scared that nobody's gonna protect her because nobody is protecting her. She probably wasn't raised in an environment of love and protection and leadership. That's probably why she's getting back with him. So at some point you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, why, as a man, can I not lead my women? Oh, you probably can't lead your women because your women don't trust you to be a leader, because you're not a leader. You just talk about being a leader. You don't act like a leader. A leader acts. Ibrahim Traore is a leader, willing to die for his people, has a strategy. I'm not going over there to have a conversation with the UN because they're going to try to kill me. I'm going to send somebody in my position. And if they attack, we'll know that they will be met with force. You guys have no strategy. Some of y'all too big back to even run up the street. Let's keep it a bean. That go for the police too. But your big asses. A warrior is not obese. A warrior has some discipline. A leader has some discipline. You got too much estrogen pumping through your veins, men, to your hormones. That XY chromosome combination is getting your ass. I always say this, and I'm gonna continue to say it until y'all man up. Y'all half a bitch anyways. So when you're acting like one, I'll just be like, you're half a bitch anyways. And then what? You want to be a leader? Don't talk about being a leader. Be a leader. You show me by being a leader. The Black Panthers, leaders. The Nation of Islam, leaders. I wouldn't name another group, but the way that I heard that they talk to women, and there's probably multiple groups that I've named, the way that they talk to women, you can't be a leader when you degrade your woman. The woman is a cradle of life. So when you degrade women and you beat women and you rape women, there's no way you could be a leader. Cut the shit. You want to be a leader, but you don't want to lead your household financially. And are women gold diggers? There are plenty of women that are gold diggers. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to be bringing home the gold, baby. By all means necessary, if you want to be a leader. Then you guys bring up biblically. You guys are bringing up the Holy Script. And in the Holy Text, we talk about polygamy. Some of y'all talking about polygamy and you ain't got 2 fucking pennies to rub together. It actually says in the scripture, if you're able to provide for 3 women, shall you have 3 women. A lot of y'all not even able to provide for 1 woman. A lot of y'all are not even able to provide for yourselves. And times are hard, yes. But a lot of you also voted for Trump. Men are our demise. And I love you guys dearly. But you guys don't think. Then you want to be leaders. You don't have the logic and reasoning. You don't take the time to think. You're the muscle. We're the brains. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've said this previously. You haven't proven me any different. You lead by your ego. Somebody steps on your shoes. You're ready to kill them. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. You're ready to kill them. You're ready to kill yourself. Because you're too emotional. That XY chromosome, that half a bitch in you. You're fighting, you're battling. We don't have to battle. We don't have to battle. We don't have to battle. There's no mix matching in our chromosomes. We know what we are. And I don't want this to be an attack on men, but this needs to be a wake-up call on men. And are some men leaders? Some men are beautiful leaders. Rizza Islam, love him to death. Met him several times. A great brother. Yaki Awaken, great brothers. Yakai, Dr. Yakai. There are some great leaders. Nuri Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan bringing a 1,000,000-man march. Where's that? This should be like almost like at some point this should have been a tradition. 1,000,000-man march every March 2nd. That should have been a tradition, not a one-time thing that we're talking about in history. No. If you want to lead every day. Don't pick and choose when we're leading, brothers. You think I want to be in my masculine all the time? Hell no. I want to be in my feminine too. Sitting up like a queen. Like they be up in Nigeria. Them Nigerian women be sitting up there with their pearls and they headpieces and they gold and be popping their shit. I would love to. To be in my indigenous ways. American indigenous. Which could bring me to my next topic, even though I wasn't planning on talking about this today. American black people. You are indigenous to the land. That is it. We don't have to keep going back and forth with these outsiders, right? And I'm not even saying they're outsiders, because scientifically, anthropology, archaeology, we are the originals. Some of the originals, because black people come in more. Black people ain't just one people either. Let's get that. You got your Melanesians, you got your Australoids, or well, that's kind of the same thing. You got your Negritoids, you got your Negroids. All on this land mass before a slave ship entered. Papyrus reed boats and ships. If you go back into your ancient history and you learn what your people were capable of doing, trading is not new. Transportation of goods is not new. Travel and migration is not new. Some people came here on papyrus reed ships, boats. Some people came here through the Bering Strait. And they weren't all black. But we know that black people around the world, dark-skinned people around the world, are indigenous to the world. We know that. So you need to figure out who you are. You need to empower yourself. I think a lot of the problem is that people are not empowered. People don't feel empowered. If you feel empowered, like I walk around here empowered. I don't care what you think about me, how I look, how you think I look, where you think I'm from. I don't care where you think I'm from. I know where I'm from. I've traced my ancestry. I can't find an African. I actually will find a white person in my as a relative before I found an African. Where are the Africans at? I want to see them. I want to see them. Do I have Semitic DNA? Yes. Do I have East African DNA? Actually, if you look at my DNA is not simple. It's very complex. Why is your when you actually do a DNA test, right? And you actually look at all of your DNA and all the places that you've traveled, right? Not just ancestry. Ancestry just gives everybody, it seems like from the ancestry, everybody's a Nigerian. Everybody is a West African. But when you actually do a thorough DNA test and you see the migration patterns of your people, I got some very ancient DNA. Some very aboriginal DNA. And my people happened because when you're in a place for so long, you say, what else is out there? And then you start exploring what else is out there. So to limit your people to a slave ship, tell them to prove to you what slave ship you came off of. Tell them to prove to you where you're from. They won't be able to do it. They don't even have a desire to tell you where you're from, because that would only empower you. They don't desire to empower you. So they told you, you all came off slave ships. And to hate Africa, I don't hate Africa. Africa is such a beautiful place. My people, thousands of years ago, were in Africa. Just like the Aborigines, 70,000 plus years ago, in Africa. Papua New Guinea's, Africa. Idas, Africa. Jarawas. Shit, I might look like a Jarawa to you. From the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. I might even look like an Arab to somebody. Because you know what? We were there too. There is no Middle East. It's just an expansion of Africa. These people came in and just started naming. Africa's not even called Africa. Alkebulan, the Garden of Eden. Egypt, Kemet, the land of blacks. Sudan, Upper Egypt. Now we call it the South. Saharan, the Sub-Saharan. First of all, if you look into the ancestry of the Saharan, like the upper Africa, you got Morocco, the Moors. The Moors. Actually, I actually have a lot of Northern African in my ancestry too. And Sub-Saharan too. I don't care. They even put me over there in Arabia too. Palestinian. Oh, it's getting real Semitic around here, isn't it? Yeah, I'm one of them ones. That dark skin that you guys used as a weapon, it's empowering me. You see, I'm sitting in the sun right now, right? Getting my vitamins, right? Because the sun somehow empowers me. The sun somehow gives me energy. The sun somehow feeds me. Other people, it doesn't feed everybody. It does not feed everybody. So the people who it does not feed should probably be asking themselves, is this my planet? You nine ether beings. Nine ether. You cannot explain. Ghost gene. 19%. The highest percent out there. You cannot explain. You can't explain this. I have been chosen. We have been chosen. By the Most High, by the earth. By the earth. We have been chosen. It was our job to protect this planet. Because it is ours. And we are not doing a great job of that. My nine ether beings. Yeah, the Egyptians. The hair. Oh, this is the hair. Like when you see that wasn't no wig. I'm talking about a wig. That wasn't no wig. Yeah, the imposters probably put wigs on. I'm not an imposter. I'm an original. Of all lands, worldwide. When you look at my DNA, worldwide, every land, thank the Moors for teaching you hygiene. Thank the Moors for bringing agriculture and feeding you, changing your diet, you Europeans. Thank the Moors for educating you. teaching you math, teaching you science. I'm sure they probably taught you astrology and astronomy and all of that as well, because ancestrally it is in them. Thank the Moors for opening up education to all, not just some, not dividing you with Jim Crow laws and the Board of Education. First Brown. Thank the Moors for not spitting on you and torturing you and enslaving you. Thank the Moors. There are two enemies and have been two enemies among us. And they're growing faster and faster because now it's becoming three. The Arabs, we will not forget about what you have done. And I'm talking about the white Arabs, not the black ones. How you came into Africa and you conquered the people and mixed them. And you turned them and divided them against one another as you are today in Sudan. We will not forget that. And I know some Arab East Africans. And I hear the way that they talk about those other people. And it's time for a change. It's time for you to unindoctrinate yourselves because you guys have been following indoctrination like us all. Indoctrination has happened across all around the world by your Arabs and your Europeans. And now it seems like the Chinese are jumping on board and saying we too want to be colonizers. We have to identify the problem. The problem is this power above, not above. Let me correct that. The power is these people who think that they're greater than the one above. All right, remember your president said, I'm not going to heaven. So all you guys that are saying, oh, I'm Christian.
You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, you know, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for.
And my president is Christian. And this is a Christian nation. Your president actually said, I'm not getting into heaven because of my sins, basically. So you should probably think, what sins did he commit? That's what he alluded to, right? I'm not getting into heaven. I don't think that I've done enough to get into heaven. So he probably did do some vile things on that Epstein Island that you guys are claiming that he didn't. You guys are not putting the math isn't mathing for you guys. At least he's honest. They say the devil walks in the world. The devil is among us. And you guys are having a hard time identifying who the devil is. I'm so sorry. Satan. And now there's plenty of demonic entities in Balaam. I actually have a notebook full of all of the wicked evildoers, the Satans, right? The fallen, in a book. And you guys are having a hard time identifying those people. I'm so sorry for you that you guys are having a hard time identifying wicked. Is something wrong? Is something wrong that you guys cannot identify what is in front of you? I'm so sorry. I'm having a hard time. I'm really having a hard time that today I can come to you with a gun. I can not you, your cousin. I can or your sister, your daughter. I can shoot them, kill them. You'll come to my court and you'll call me a demon. You'll come to my court day and you'll call me a demon. But the person or the people who cause destruction across the world, you guys are claiming them as angelic, as God's people, appointed by God. Trump is appointed by God. If he's appointed by God, he's appointed to wake you up. He's appointed for you to identify who Satan is or who evil is, and you're ignoring it. So I must assume that you're not reading your scripture. God hated Esau. God hated Esau. God said throughout the scripture, and I'm talking about the Quran, I'm talking about the Bible. Several times throughout the scripture, and stop dividing your religions into sects. Sex. S-E-C-T-S. Sext. Not sex. Okay? Stop dividing it. And listen, God hated Esau. There's no changing that. Stop acting like God didn't hate. It's okay. It's okay to say that you don't rock with somebody. It's okay not to forgive certain entities. If you think that Satan is Satan, you think God is forgiving Satan, come on, use your brain. Use your brain. Use it. Knock, knock. Is it hollow in there? Is there anybody there? Stop acting like a peon. All right? Identify the issue. God hated Esau. Satan walks among us. Identify who that is. And it's not just one entity. It's a people. It's a people. It's a community of evildoers. AI. This is going to be the last thing I talk about, because I didn't even intend to be out here this long. AI. Tired of it. Sick of it. Robots. Sick of it. For all of you guys, oh, I'm going to get a robot because it's trending. I'm going to get a robot. I'm going to be the first influencer. I'm going to influence the masses to get robots. First of all, people can't even think for themselves. They're using AI to argue. You cannot use AI to argue. It's artificial intelligence. You're teaching, but essentially in the same breath, you're teaching. Everything that AI is you're teaching. Right? It's a program with a big-ass computer that is stealing energy from the world. Water, resources, etc. from the world. Because you guys just gotta have it. You guys just gotta have it. So if you watch the show Extant with Halle Berry, I mean literally, this is what it is. If you look at the AI, if you go and look at the AI room, right, wherever the AI computer, the supercomputer is, it literally is the same as Extant. In the last episode, where they were trying to find it so that they can destroy it because it was going to destroy the world, because the humanoid robots that were programmed through AI, right? This is something that if you use your brain, you can already see the future. I knew this before I even watched that. I said AI is going to be installed into these humanoid robots. These humanoid robots are going to be walking around like they are humans, right? And some not weird, but like one of the people who created the robot decided that this robot he was going to allow to feel. So all the other ones were programmed not to be able to actually feel, but this one felt. All right, this one actually had feelings because it wasn't programmed. That function wasn't turned off. And the robots wanted to control everything. If you don't think that can potentially happen, and I know there's people that think that can potentially happen, you're crazy. We see malfunctions happen all the time. Hacking, etc. Imagine me hacking into this system. Imagine me not actually hacking into the system, but imagine me actually controlling the system and saying, hey, turn on the people while I go in my bunker. You don't think that's an option too? The way that your president is, he doesn't care about you. Everything that he says is a lie. I'm gonna give you $2,000. How are you giving people $2,000 when you're not even wanting to feed them? How are you gonna give people $2,000 when you want their health care to raise skyrocket? Even if you were to give people $2,000, they're gonna have to use that for the food that you did not want to restore, or they're going to use it for their health care, but the health care is going to be, my friend is paying $800 for a medication. Or not medication, my bad. He's paying $800 a month for insurance. If he did not have insurance, he would be paying thousands of dollars for his medicine. $800 a month for insurance is absolutely robbery. It should be illegal. It should be illegal. But you guys are praising this asshole. You guys will be your own destruction. And the thing about me is, like, where's the January 6ers, first of all, for the Democrats? Ain't none of y'all hard body? So you telling the January 6 people, them people weak as hell. Them people on the left, weak. They don't want to fight. Punks, punk ass bitches. Marks. Because y'all not planning. I can understand if you was out here planning and strategizing and being smart about how you move, but you're not doing that. You're just letting people control your life and your narrative. There's no way that let's say, I don't know how many leaders are in the world and how many people, are under them, right? Governments are under them. But let's say 2,000 people rule over 8 billion people. That is absolutely disgusting. You're letting 2,000 people rule over you. Wake up, you sheep. The only person that can rule over me is the Most High. And if I died today, I die knowing that I lived in my truth and I was mentally free. See, I cannot be physically out of this bondage, economically out of this bondage by myself. You can't lead a movement by yourself. You need a nation of people to move with you. Moses had a nation of people who moved with him, and some stayed, and some got devoured because they were non-believers. I'm led by the Most High, and I will continue to be led by the Most High. Some of you are led by the most wicked, and you need to change. And in my conclusion, I say this: be led, not astray, by evil entities, by wicked doers, by wicked people. Be led, not astray, by Donald Trump, Netanyahu, or whatever the hell his name is, Kim Jong-un. Be led, not astray. Understand that your melanin is your power. Your melanin is your power. Understand that you're living in a loop. Every day you wake up and you do the same thing. Go to work. Come home. Feed the kids. Go to bed. Go to work. Come home. Feed the kids. Go to bed. On the weekends, drink, get drunk, get stupid, belligerent. You're in a loop. When are you going to crack the loop? Aren't you sick and tired of it? Are you not sick and tired of it? It hasn't gotten any better. Look at how you grew up. Look at the world from how you grew up and where the world is now. It hasn't gotten any better. But before colonialism, your people were free. Your ancestors roamed this world. Before there was a Bible, before there was a religion, your people praised the trees. They praised the waters. And you guys call it idol worshiping or graven images, but those aren't graven images. You are praising the world that God created. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for this water. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, the Creator. That's all that was. Is you were giving thanks to these things that existed because you knew to give thanks because you were spiritually connected to the Most High. Understanding that religion was brought to you by man and forced. Christianity was forced upon you by Europeans and some nations. I'm not saying all nations, because I know you're going to bring up Ethiopia. Ethiopia is my favorite place to bring up too. All right? But this doctrine, this King James, was brought to you by the Europeans. You had a piece of the Bible over there. But when the white people brought it to you, they said, hey, this is how you be a slave. They picked and choose, just like you guys pick and choose. Just like you guys pick and choose what scripture fits you. That's what they did. Your perception is deception. So give thanks every day and understand who you should be. The only president you got is the Most High. You don't got no president. You don't. You voted for somebody to. Well, some of you guys. Well, obviously you guys didn't vote. You guys should have voted for someone that was going to be in place while you free yourself, not somebody who was going to drag you down so you can't free yourself. Right? I'm trying to liberate myself. I understand that liberation with this man in office is almost impossible. Free your minds, people, but I hope that he's in office for a reason, so that you can identify the problem. But today, that's all I have to give you, is to wake up from your evil, wicked doing ways and stop making excuses for your evil. With that being said, I am out. Have a good day.